All right, if I'm saying these two words one more time, I'm gonna become very annoyed. Anyway, today we're talking about heat distortion, and we already mentioned it before in my editing video and in pretty much all the videos that I'm talking about the image quality of lenses and cameras. And this kind of phenomenon, it's not occurring necessarily in wildlife. It occurs in all kinds of situations, but it's prone to show in wildlife images because we are using these long lenses, and these things are not only part of this phenomenon, but it kind of increase it. Hey, what is good everyone, Chris here, welcome back to the channel, and today we're talking a little bit about a phenomenon that shows in some situations when you are shooting in a hot environment, and it's called heat distortion. What is heat distortion? It's an occurrence that mainly happens when you're shooting in a hot environment that has been under the sunlight or the sun power for a period of time and affects your images in a bad way. Meaning that though you might think, or the camera might think, that gives you the sharpest images possible, when you look back at them in one of the editing programs, or if you're putting it on a bigger screen, you can see that the sharpness is not there. It's a little bit blurry, it looks a little bit weird, like I don't know, it looks pixelated to me. It looks like you missed focus, and it's not always the case, though we do miss focus most of the time, especially in wildlife when we have to track the subject. But sometimes you nail the focus and the image still looks bad. Now, this phenomenon called heat distortion appears mostly on the ground, and it's more prominent if you're shooting subjects that are on the ground level, because the sunlight hits the ground and the heat starts dissipate up a little bit, and it creates those wavy heat waves, if you want, and those things can affect the ability of the long lenses to capture the image as sharp as possible. Now, that's not only happen on the ground, and that is something that we should be aware of it. It also happens on the surface of lakes and basically static water or stale water, and it tends to be right at the surface level. And if you're shooting waterfowls like ducks or swans or whatever, it's on the water midday in a bright sun, you might encounter this phenomenon. You might not, but usually it does happen very often, and it's actually accentuated by some of the lenses. For example, this one, it's a black lens, and it is coated with this tape that I recently bought to protect it, but it's a black lens, and black, it's usually attracting the sunlight and literally store it. That's why some of the lenses, and I would say the high-end lenses, are coated in white or painted in white, and that helps a little bit with the heat distortion, with the heat dissipation, and it helps with the lens literally functioning the way it should and not overheating. Some of the big lenses have a very complicated autofocus system, and that might overheat if you are in a powerful sun, especially right here in California. We had that pretty much from 7 a.m. to, I would say, 7 p.m. During the summer. So that helps a little bit. Having a white lens, it helps. Now, another occurrence is, like I told you before, inside of these lens hoods. And it occurs because, as you can tell, these lens hoods have a little bit of a depth to it. And when the sun hits the inside of this black surface, some of them are coated with felt, some of them are not, it's just plastic, it's a special plastic. Some have some types of rubbering coating in, but most of them are made of plastic. And if the plastic is, I would say, low quality, usually overheats very, very fast. The heat that accumulates inside, it starts to create that heat distortion, those heat waves that you can't see, or you can if you have good eyes, but most of the time you can't see when you're looking through your lens, but they do affect the sharpness and the clarity of your images. And now you're probably thinking, okay, so I'm taking off the lens hood in a bright sunny day and I'm gonna be fine. Well, you might, but this lens hood also protects from flare, protects from glare, protects the front element from scratches and bumps and dents. So be very careful. You might be able to do that if you're shooting with the sun on your shoulder, like they say, so with the sun behind you. But if you shoot a little bit towards the sun, even if it's left or right on your lens, you might get a little bit of a glare, which it actually deteriorates the image quality as well. It lowers the contrast on your images. These lenses these days have all kinds of coatings, anti-glare coatings and all that, but it's still very tough to avoid that kind of loss in contrast and clarity if the sunlight hits the front element, even a little bit from the sides. So that is what I think you should avoid if you're shooting in a hot day. Now, what exactly does to your photos? Like I said, it basically makes the photos look like they're pixelated, like you missed the focus in a very weird way. And the first time I realized that, I was looking at the photo and I was like, what the hell is going on? This looks like my lens couldn't render the image. It looks a little bit like, you know, jagged, and I'm like, what the? And I started searching about it. I didn't know, I am honest to you guys, I didn't know about it. And I started searching and I realized that the phenomenon was actually the heat distortion. And since then, I'm trying to avoid that as plague as much as I can, especially when I'm shooting in a hot environment. And it's because you might as well lose one great photo, one great moment, something like, let's say, an action moment that the bird or the animal or whatever the wildlife you're photographing does at that moment, and ruining that because of the heat distortion. It's crazy. Now, it doesn't mean you shouldn't shoot in, let's say, bright sun and midday. If you need to, or if you're there and you need to shoot that photo, just go ahead and shoot. But try to avoid being right or having the subject right in the sunlight or where the rays are hitting the ground and heat it up. Try to find a way to shoot it in a little bit towards shade, or take off the lens hood, like I said, to avoid that kind of heat distortion. And as weird as it sounds, these lens hoods are pretty much the main reason of the heat waves, and I didn't know that. I'm shocked, but at least now we know, so I'm telling you today. Hopefully this was helpful if you are out in places like Florida or Arizona or anywhere south where the sun is always hot and the ground is always hot, because that will definitely improve the sharpness, the clarity, the image quality in general, and your photos will look crisp. Thank you so much for watching, guys. I hope this was helpful. It's a short video, shorter than the others, but I wanted to put it up there because nobody talks about it in detail. And if you want to start the conversation in the comments below, please do. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and give these videos a thumbs up. because it helps, like I said, with the algorithm, and YouTube bumps this video up in the timeline of a lot of people, and that's how we grow this channel and make it bigger and stronger and create a community that we can enjoy and maybe meet and have fun and all that. Nonetheless, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you maybe tomorrow. We'll see.